Okay, hit the button. Start the episode, Luke. I'm ready. Tip of the lips, teeth, and the tongue.
And the tongue.
Welcome to yet another episode of the CapmLew podcast. We are it's 4:41
We're
in
early,
the
which is nice.
afternoon de l'après-midi. It is, what day is it? See
The
this
9th.
watch? See this watch? I got this watch. It's a G-Shock watch.
But you can't see
And
it.
it's one of these ones with the dark front.
Hold on, there's got to be a button that turns
No,
on.
there is. There's a
Okay,
light, but
all
I
right.
mean, the thing is, it's
It's
negative
still kind
space.
of dark. Yeah, and
It's negative space.
Yeah, it's 11.
So I am going to, you know what I'm going to do?
Mm-mm.
I'm buy another one.
Dude,
I'm
you're
going to buy a watch that works.
Dave Ramsey just felt a disturbance in the force somewhere.
No, Dave
dude.
Ramsey has a spiritual gift of not caring
I'm not caring.
about people like me.
It's
He doesn't
beautiful.
care. They're like $70.
It's fine.
I've been using watches, and I can't use. I've got this Invicta watch here. No sponsorship. I loved it. It was a really cool watch. Really enjoyed it. But here's the thing.
Okay.
The band, man. I just crushed the band on it.
Will it not work
The
anymore?
little pins, I've got to take it to a jeweler.
Oh, and have it
and get it repinned. Now, it's a great watch. Doesn't use a battery.
Oh.
You move, it charges.
And it tells you the day and stuff?
It's self-winding. And yeah, but it, 30th, 31st, it's all the same between friends.
It's all the same. And it has like a thing.
Whoa. It's fine. That thing is for navigating if it's nothing.
Just give up your jet anyway.
It's for off-grid living.
Yeah, right. We do so much of that.
Rub a needle on silk and float it on a leaf.
Yeah,
to see which way is north. And knowing me, I'd pick the wrong end of the needle and go south.
And we go south.
Oh man. Coconuts, bananas, and mangoes. It's fine.
When it gets hot, I'll know I'm far enough.
Last episode, we had a little chat about what it was like for me when I was in second, third grade, and the Challenger blew up. The space shuttle today. Reports are coming in that the Columbia has, after many years of being our space shuttle, has possibly. It looks like it has
blown up.
Yes.
That sucks.
Looks like it has fallen apart on re-entry.
Know how many people were on board?
I don't know anything.
Okay.
I just know that I watched a video. I have it here on my phone. It was Tik-Tok and
vines that keep me alive.
Okay, I'm not gonna deny.
Dude,
listen, this is the one.
The vines.
This is the one I did a screen grab of. This is the one. Okay.
It's I love these so much.
It's this one. Oh, hang on. It's I gotta turn off this thing. But we are pivoting far too easily from the one thing to the other thing.
I know, but I wanted to see the vines so bad, dude. I love vines. My wife and I believe in vines, dude. They're so funny.
No, it's the right way to be. Yeah, this clip simply is that one child, and she says, "That I still can never get rid of."
Get my nuts! Get my nuts!
So that was it.
I feel more alive, dude.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I eat a lot of almonds.
Oh, I do, dude.
Yeah,
I like that about you.
When I'm hungry, I eat almonds. Actually, I just realized that seemed like a dirty thing.
Yeah,
not that I'm above an occasional blue reference, but I actually tweeted that to my wife, telling her, when you ask me what I want from the store, this is about all I think of.
Get my nuts. Get my nuts.
Yeah, because she always gets the giant bag of
almonds.
Whatever, almonds, yeah.
Good for her.
Lightly salted.
Lightly salted. I don't want none of that natural crap.
I don't need them salted, though. I can eat them raw.
With cheese?
I'm not... Almonds?
With cheese?
I mean, I eat cheese.
Yeah, but you could do both at the same time, and they're amazing. And if you add some, like, pepperoni or...
That's exactly what I do. You know I do this, right?
I know. It's amazing.
It's what I call making myself a plate.
A plate. Just a plate. The plate.
No, I'm 35 or 40 pounds lighter than I was 3 years ago.
I thought you were about to say, I'm 35 going on 40, and I was like, that is a lie.
I am 50 going on 51, but no, I'm 35 or 40 pounds lighter and don't look different. Do I look different?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe
it's hard to tell. We hang out a lot.
I move differently.
Yeah, which is a nice feeling.
I feel better. But most of it's because I make a plate.
I make a plate.
Instead of scarfing 4 McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking about that right now. Hold on. Just
you like that? I love the cheeseburger.
They're so good. I don't do that anymore.
Remember
But
our whole talk
oh
about the
yeah,
cheeseburger? How
dude.
it's not. You have things in a cheeseburger. There's onions. There's ketchup.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
mustard. There's
yeah.
cheese. There's meat. There's pickles. But none of the individual ingredients can be distinguished
No,
in the taste of a cheeseburger. That flavor is McDonald's cheeseburger flavor, and it's good.
it's so
You
good,
can
dude.
make out the pickles.
I am loving it. Yeah, the pickles are strong enough.
They're satisfying, limp crunch.
Yeah, they're satisfying limp crunch.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. McDonald's is serious business, dude.
dude. Have you ever seen the videos of the guys who like leave those out, the burgers out for like 6 months, and
Yeah.
they look exactly the same? That's because of all the mercury they dip in them or whatever.
Listen, this is the tip. When you travel,
Mhm.
eat McDonald's.
You won't get food
You're
poisoning.
not going to get food poisoning because that food kills whatever microbe it touches. Nothing can grow on it.
I'm doing a McDonald's cleanse because nothing inside of me can live if I eat like 16 of these cheeseburgers over the course of like 2 days. It's beautiful.
How old were you when Super Size Me came out?
Oh, dude,
The
I don't know.
documentary?
Yeah, I was probably like 13 or 14 or
Okay,
something.
so it didn't really rock you.
No, was
I
that
was in
like?
my
Was it? Did it smoke you?
no, I mean
Did it
we
make
always
waves?
knew that fast food wasn't great for you.
Yeah.
It's the food of slow self-indulgent suicide. That said,
Oh my gosh.
Super Size Me is largely debunked. You can eat McDonald's and live pretty well,
D-
I feel.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, to be fair,
I
I feel that
I
should be a
feel.
button, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel.
I feel.
Was it actually debunked or not?
Yeah, well, it took the major hits because it turns out the guy had a drinking problem the whole time,
Oh, that
and
sucks.
that his fatty liver disease was not purely from McDonald's, and it really, really, honestly,
Hmm.
uh, I wonder if McDonald's sued the poor guy.
He might. I don't understand how he could have done that and not gotten sued by like the
Morgan
biggest.
Spurlock.
I hope he's okay.
Morgan Spurlock. I hope he's okay too. And I really hope that McDonald's Corporation is okay. Thoughts and prayers for McDonald's Corp.
Ah, cool.
No, just Morgan Spurlock.
Just working. Well, all the guys that work at McDonald's, it's a job. It's fine.
So every soul, every son of Adam or daughter of Eve who is working at McDonald's, good on you. We're rooting for you.
But seriously, like, please, can the service just be a little bit better?
It's rough, man.
It's tough, dude.
It's getting
Last
real
3 years,
rough.
for real though, it's
Mhm.
been insane, dude. I went into a place of business today,
Mm-hmm.
and I had, you'll know the type of interaction I'm about to discuss because I think it happens often enough. But so there's multiple people behind the counter, and they're all having conversations with each other and with a rambunctious other customer. So there you are with your items at the counter. You want to check out, and one guy is standing.
hour later.
Well, dude, here's the trip, dude. One guy is standing behind the counter, and he's like moving from like position to position. The other person behind the counter is like leaning against the counter way down, but they're at like a kiosk where you would go to, with the credit card machine and all that jazz. Then the other dude is sitting at a chair or on something behind the counter, and he's at another one of the stations that you would walk up to.
Yep.
But the other customer is kind of taking up both of those spots with her deal. And so I stood there because I didn't know. I'll just wait until
And
somebody
you
says.
have to be so gentle.
So careful.
Because people are
They're
volatile.
crazy. And it was a
Very
little bit hectic.
volatile.
And so the dude finally who was sitting there, I wasn't making eye contact because I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable or like I was rushing them.
just wait.
Yeah, just let it ride. And I finally kind of glanced over and he was just staring at me, the guy sitting down. And I kind of looked at him and then he just kind of waved me over, but he seemed kind of annoyed or thought that it was funny that I was standing there.
How dare you?
And I was like, dude,
Be a customer in this establishment.
and just want to give you
Don't
money
you
for
know
things. Like,
nobody wants, we don't want to be here and we
Dude.
don't want you. And they work for a giant soulless corporation.
well, go get another job, bro.
No, that's not, why would they need it? Why does anyone need a job?
You're so right. I've seen the error of my ways. You're right. Everyone is a victim of all the things that they acquiesce to every single day. It's not as simple as that, but it was just those interactions are becoming more and more common. Or the worst place, absolutely worst, hands down,
Mhm.
is any AutoZone or any O'Reilly's or any auto parts store besides like Napa, dude.
I dare O'Reilly's to be
Bro,
having me
bro,
in them.
bro. I have literally at the AutoZone distribution center have sat in line for like literally 45 minutes. And there was like, I don't know what was happening. It was so chaotic, dude. I was literally just like limp, like just trying to go limp and like close my eyes and hope that it was over because it was so brutal, dude.
You've seen me in action, though.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
I have, dude.
I know it's going to be torture, so I make sure that I enjoy myself.
Yes, exactly.
And I had to do AutoZone the other day.
Yeah, how'd it go?
One of the work trucks. These are the really. My truck is not a crappy truck.
No.
It is in pretty good shape.
It is.
But like
it's
the auto locks don't work. The battery's dead in the fob and it doesn't work because whatever the actuating mechanism in the doors doesn't work.
Of course.
It tries to work.
Mine does too.
It's done.
Yes. It's cooked.
And so, the other guys in the company, they have what you would call the good trucks. They have Dodge Rams.
Like brand newer trucks. Like 2017,
2021s, 2020s.
Yeah. Yours is like a 1990.
Mine is a 2001.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the 2001 F350 7.3 diesel.
Ladle diesel.
With the R400 transmission, though.
It's fine.
It is fine. That transmission's shifting fine.
It's fine.
Till it's not.
Yeah, but you're not pulling anything heavy enough to destroy that thing.
Then when it doesn't shift fine, you pay the extra $2,000. Just put it on plastic. Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey
awakens.
Appears. Yeah, yeah. I call upon the spirit of Dave Ramsey.
You spend the extra money and you get an Allison transmission put in. For real. You just do it.
You could.
You just do it. Do it right.
Yeah.
And so
you switch it to a manual and then never have a transmission problem.
I don't think you can just switch it to a manual.
Listen, it's one hole in the floorboard. It's probably
I don't have any
more
problem.
complicated.
I don't have any problem.
There's flex plates and all kind. There's like adapters and it's fine.
Do they have that?
You absolutely can, 100%.
Bro, is that cheaper than buying an Allison?
Probably.
Is it cheaper than replacing an R400?
I don't know, but
that would be sick.
I will tell you this though: replacing a clutch is way cheaper than replacing a freaking R400. Absolutely, and way quicker. And you can get crazy beefy clutch things that are like $600.
I love those ideas very, very much.
Anyway, you were at. So what happened at the AutoZone?
Just the beard.
Dude, the beard. I know it's unstoppable.
The beard is unstoppable. People all want to know. They want to know, how, when was the last time you came down from the mountains?
Yeah, right.
Tell them I do it every 263 years.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Every time Venus and Mars line up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's like that old Stephen King Storm of the Century situation. It's that simple.
Dude, yeah.
So anyways, very, very somber news today with the possibility, it looks like the likelihood that the Space Shuttle Columbia has exploded.
Yeah, that sucks.
Super bummed.
Yeah.
Not nearly as bummed as I am about, and this is, I have been endeavoring to do this podcast without sharing polarizing views on things.
Is that true? Because it feels like it's ironic. A lie.
Guys, I have some views that are so strong, and one of them is, you know what I did? I did the dumbest thing.
Go ahead.
I was like, oh, they got an abortion thing going on?
Yeah.
What's abortion? What is an abortion?
Yeah.
That's what I did. I did, what is an abortion? Oh, what is a late-term abortion? I just did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of imagine that if anyone did that and looked into that, they might start to, I know people who've had abortions and it was mayhem in their lives afterward. Mayhem for decades.
Yeah.
And that's not something cool. I've tried to help pay for abortions when I was young, and always considered abortion an option when I was a young man.
Sure.
So I'm not better than anyone, but yeah, I did that stupid thing I do, which is I'm like, oh, they want to outlaw something and they want to make something legal. What is it?
Right.
And
how could you?
I learned enough about that to be absolutely. It breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And it is. it's like really, really, and people get really mad about it, but I'm like, yeah, but then you know what I did? I
Hmm.
did another stupid thing. Is I was like, well, I always do this. I'm like, well, how's that industry work? You
Oh,
know?
dude, don't,
And
dude.
I looked into how that industry worked.
Don't do that, dude.
Yeah, well,
Don't.
I'm ruined
Yeah,
because
right.
now all my cool friends will never think I'm cool
Dang it, dude.
because it is so cool to be just stoked
Yeah,
about what I see as a terribly weighty and difficult, horrible thing
yeah,
that is now seen as like it's like a polarizing. I'll never be mad at somebody that they have strong feelings about a practice like that ever. And I have them myself.
hmm,
And just a couple days ago, Ohio, where I live, uh, put not only did they put that on the ballot for a constitutional amendment,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
but they also put on in within it
Mm-hmm.
that um, like a a young person's parents don't have to be notified, so it can be done in secret from the parents.
Yes.
And of all the shit that a kid does behind their parents' back, that's something that really they need their parents.
Yeah.
They need their parents for that.
Sure.
And I'm very sad to think that school administrators and people like that, or even a neighbor, could get in between parents and kid and get something like that going on. And
Yeah.
and I just think of how crabby everyone always gets when this topic comes up. But that's a that's a huge, huge deal, man.
It is.
And second to it, and this is another controversial take.
Go ahead.
I am super bummed about recreational marijuana.
Did it pass?
It did.
Okay.
And not only did these pass, they
Mm-hmm.
passed with huge margins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge
Pretty large
margins. Oh
margins. Yeah.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
looked up the issue
It
one.
was the voice of the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I completely understand. I'm glad that it went to the people. I'm glad that the people let their voice be known. I'm sad that I'm really bummed on recreational marijuana.
Sure.
I'm not bummed on medical marijuana,
Yeah.
and I would really like hemp to return to this country for paper and fuel
Yeah.
and other products.
Yeah.
I think hemp for fuel, I mean the yield on hemp for fuel is like so much better than corn.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Of
insane.
course it is. Yeah.
It's
And of course it's
insane.
outlawed. Right. Right.
And yeah, no, I think the paper and petro industries. I looked back, and the guy who owned the newspapers back then in the early 1900s or late 18s or whatever. This is really dark. I researched it real deep one time, enough for me to conclude that hemp and cannabis have been illegal in the United States because of industries of power,
Mm-hmm.
power of industries. But and I'm not against the legalization of recreational marijuana.
Sure.
I just would love there to be a lot more education culturally,
Yeah.
and I might wind up being a guy who does that.
Yeah.
And I think education culturally is also the answer to my other issue of conscience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I really, really am sad that we just are like, oh, I want that. And these are things that we don't even,
I know.
you know.
Yeah. This election cycle was the first time I went to a polling location and cast a ballot at a polling location. I've voted in the mail before when Trump and Biden were battling it out for president, but I didn't actually vote. I was about to fill it out, and instead at the bottom I wrote in Jesus Christ, and then I put all this shit is a scam, and I just like drew a big arrow up. They probably threw it away, but
They
I was
definitely
just like,
did.
dude, I was in this process of thinking about what it meant to be an American and thinking about our right to vote and what I thought about that, and really dealing with a feeling of real disempowerment about whether or not it felt like my vote even mattered, and really struggling. And
Oh, that's another one.
I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
I kind of had this line of thought when I was voting. I was like, man, this is when you're a kid, they tell you that you can vote and you'll have two options, and you just pick, you can pick whichever option you want. But in your head, maybe this is just me, but maybe other people have the same experience, but you would hope that there would be an option that you would totally agree with and an option that you would totally disagree with. But of course, this is the world and that's not the way it works. So, like the recreational marijuana was one that I felt like man, I'm not totally against recreational marijuana. I think it's a
Not me
joke
either.
that
Yeah,
marijuana is a Schedule One narcotic. I
that
think it's a
is.
joke that people are in prison for so long for
Oh yeah, they need to let everybody out now.
yes, and but at the same time, having the state be totally in control of these things, having there's all these caveats to it. So at the end of the day, you're like, man, I really want this, but not with all this garbage attached to it. So you kind of have
Yeah,
this like compromise, I guess, that you have to make inside of yourself. You're
that's
like,
the
well, I
name of the
guess
game.
we'll just pick the least stupid one. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
instead of the best one, it's the least stupid one you're gonna pick. So,
we have a political class. We have a power elite
mm,
in the United States that is obviously aligned with the interests of corporations, and that's not good. And that elite is intent on kind of two things. One is
sure,
doing the bidding of corporations, and the other one is keeping power.
yeah, sure,
And whatever it takes to keep power,
mm-hmm.
it appears to me, in my opinion, that's what they'll do.
Sure,
Whatever it takes to keep power, that's what they'll do. Meanwhile, our founding documents, which are the authority of law in our country,
yeah,
they dictate that that class of people actually be a servant class
mm,
to the interests of their democratic constituencies.
mm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm so far right now
Yeah,
from what's going on.
sure,
The intersection of, I mean, you can find the rhetoric that I'm speaking from,
mm-hmm.
but like now I'm on a list,
Yeah, right,
because
right,
the discussion of these things is, wow, is now being, yeah, I mean, it's just nuts. You can't even talk about things now. Like one of the things, a lot of people feel like their votes don't matter. In 2016, when Trump was elected,
mm-hmm.
a lot of people felt tremendously disenfranchised, and they pointed out that it was a corrupt election influenced by foreign powers.
Sure,
They called into question the ballot counting. They even, I watched as major players in the opposition to Trump said that the Dominion machines can be hacked and all this stuff in
right,
2016. And then to 20,
2020,
2020 came
yeah,
around and people started saying the same thing. And um, now they're like in, there are these lawsuits and they're brought up on charges. I just watched as a couple of them have pled out to these like sort of like traffic school pleas,
sure,
where they plead guilty to a lesser thing, and then if they follow their probation, then the entire thing is expunged. One of them
right,
is that Sidney Powell lady, the Kraken lawyer, um, and they're doing a thing. It's known as lawfare, destroying the My Pillow guy. I'm not fans of any of these people.
sure,
But I can't help but notice it does cast a chill over the First Amendment to
yes,
see that simply having an opinion. So what if somebody doesn't trust elections in America?
right,
So what?
right,
Everyone should be asking that question. It should also get answered until we have
right,
a good core of. Right now, some large percentage of Americans do not trust the electoral process. That is the beginning of an end for a democratic republic. That's
yeah,
that
yeah,
should be remedied through investigation and the punishment of corruption at all levels.
yes,
And it's really, really. I'm kind of meta to the issue.
mm-hmm.
You know, I don't feel a dog in the fight at the issue level, but what I see is outside of that issue, the discussion of those issues is being dogpiled hard.
Oh, absolutely,
And
yeah,
that is a bigger issue than the issue itself.
yes, one hundred
And I've
percent,
watched like as they've come after the people who speak out, like they had the Republican debates last night. there's this guy. He's from Cincinnati.
Yeah, what's his name?
He graduated from Xavier
University.
University.
Yeah, I
His
can't
name
remember
is
his name.
Vivek Ramaswamy,
That's it. Yep.
and the guy is sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
So you obviously can't trust him.
Yeah. Right.
Um, but I don't. And he I, he was like, he was just super. Is I don't like this. Would like I would run for president and like do the debates and stuff, and I think it would be entertaining for America to some extent.
Yeah.
Um, and the I mean, what would I be risking? I mean, you raise money to run for office, so you're spending someone else's money.
Mm-hmm.
The risk is like, I guess, assassination and stalking and weirdness. But then the other risk is, and it's actually a greater threat
Mm.
to your life, that you might win.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It is terrifying. So then they take you in the back room and show you all the space aliens and Sasquatches.
No, and you
Tell
can't
you.
drive anymore.
Tell you what you. Oh yeah,
You
you
can't drive. You can never
You
drive.
never drive
Yeah,
again.
dude, which is a like, why? Why does it matter? Like, I'm not a president anymore. I'm gonna drive.
So if we had a former president
Mm-hmm.
who died in a motorcycle accident,
I'd vote for him every time,
that's a
even if
good.
he's dead.
That's a good.
You
Well, yeah,
know, like,
yeah. You would just write him in under Jesus Christ.
yeah,
You'd vote for them for vice president.
dude. Yeah, vice president. See, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Well, I'm struggling with sadness in
Yeah,
my heart because I live among a people who cannot bring themselves to consider. Um, I'm also seeing the same dynamic. I'm perceiving a very strong confusion over our people at the cultural level, at the political level,
yeah,
even at the level. I mean, talk about confusion. Driving in rush hour,
bruh,
I've seen accidents, cars on fire.
dude.
People are having their judgment is impaired.
Yep.
Just on the drive home today from doing a roof inspection, there was a guy in a Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just going for broke, man.
Yeah,
He was putting it all on black and letting it roll.
yeah.
Holy cow!
It's terrifying.
It was insane.
Yep.
The behavior
Yep.
was insane and illegal. There's no fear of it. There aren't enough police to catch all the people misbehaving. I actually had a conversation with a police officer, but this confusion,
Yeah.
I see it coming into crisp relief in the folks who are um, it is not the time to pick up a Palestinian flag
Hmm.
and fill the streets. What Hamas did is not something to take the flag of.
Sure.
That said, anti-war sentiments and wanting to protest against the Israeli reaction,
Sure.
certainly there could be a better symbol than that flag,
Sure.
which in the charter for that flag is clearly expressed the eradication of the Jewish people.
Sure.
Really quick, when the orange man got elected wearing a purple suit looking like Joker,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, dude.
When he got elected, coming down with the Matt Groening, Simpsons predicted,
Dude,
weird
that's what
time
I'm saying,
travel,
dude. Oh no, dude.
all
Like,
that.
how?
When he got elected,
Yeah.
I was promised Nazis.
Yeah. Right.
Now I see them. People who willingly align themselves with a call to eradicate the Jewish people. I don't care if Zionism puts sand in your shorts, my dear ones. That flag is not the choice because that's Hamas, that's Hezbollah,
Mm.
that's the Muslim Brotherhood, and all of them are eradicationist. We don't eradicate. We don't eradicate each other.
How many times have I told you?
And when someone platforms the eradication of other people, we stand against that.
Hmm.
We can still stand against war.
Yeah.
We can still stand against state violence.
Yeah.
We can voice our strong disapproval and protest, but let us not then drape ourselves in that flag which is flown over Hamas. When Hamas, I, what are we doing? This is the confusion I'm trying to discuss.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I have a I don't want children to be neglected,
Yeah.
born into abject poverty with no options for upward mobility.
Yeah.
But I went and I learned what abortion is, and I learned what late term abortion is,
Yeah.
and it caused me to shudder and mourn.
Yep.
I, I, it, these things don't seem this confusing, but
No.
people are this confused.
Yes.
And we chip away at it here and there in the world, in the mind of the skateboarding peoples, because that's a low threat environment
Yeah.
where we can, move around a little bit and discuss constructs of conscience
Yeah.
and intellect in a relatively unthreatening, low consequence environment. But our last episode, we did because we are upset at the prospect of the the harm of children being I don't know how to say it.
Hurt.
We don't
Taken
want it
advantage
to
of.
go on unchecked.
Yeah.
We'd like it to go away because it is checked.
Yeah.
Will it go away? I can't answer questions of that nature. I dare say, in my reading of the scripture, no, it won't stop. But the fact that that won't stop doesn't mean that I won't swing against it.
Right. And it won't stop until it does.
If well, he will.
You know what I mean?
I do believe the Messiah of the Jews, Jesus, who came to save the whole world, the Lamb of God, who
Hmm.
takes away the sin of the. By the way, sin is our big problem.
Yeah.
Not that we're blind or lame, but sin.
Hmm.
That's why when they lowered that guy through the roof to Jesus,
Yeah.
he said to the guy, "Take heart, my son,
Hmm.
for your sins are forgiven." And they were like, "He can forgive sins?" And he says, "Watch this. If you think it's hard to forgive sins, check what I'm about to do next." And he healed the guy. The guy took up his bed and walked, and it was a Sabbath day, and they were mad because he carried something. That was their takeaway.
If that was
That's
there.
just how dull and confused our
Yeah.
minds can be.
Yeah.
I
100%.
see us and I see me in those parables and
Yeah.
in those accounts. And I urge you, dear listener, to think a little more deeply before you pick up a flag.
Mm.
Read the charter, because unwittingly, I think out of an understudied enthusiasm,
Hmm.
I feel that many people have taken up a flag and draped it upon themselves that is actually a flag that aligns with that one flag.
Yeah. You know the one.
Yeah.
You know the one. Yeah.
And you can't have that flag around.
According to them.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
I was promised Nazis under Trump, and I got them,
Yeah.
but it wasn't under Trump.
Yeah. Right.
Now,
What is
that
happening?
said, I'm glad they didn't come under Trump. Although I will say this, I did see an energizing
Yes.
of uh, of classic racist mentalities
Yeah.
during Trump's demagoguing from 2015 to 2017.
For sure.
I did not like that,
Yeah.
and I criticized it. Um, that said, I was also promised a winter of sickness and death
I,
for the
for, I
unvaccinated.
forgot about that,
I'm
dude.
almost certain we'll get to see that too.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And if I get sick and die, um, first of all, Joe Biden, you're welcome. And
Oh man.
if
Cop an early dismissal.
I cop an
Oh
early dismissal, I mean nobody will be happy about it here, but it's gonna be a lot better in the long run. It turns out the only run is the long run,
yeah.
and it's
Imagine that.
not so long. Once you get there, you look, and this has been short.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because I think that listening to me, I just don't want to hem and haw
Yeah.
about what I'm seeing. what bothers me about that is, oh, right wing, oh, conservative, and you know what? That's fine. That's fine. You know what? If you got to do that,
Yeah.
but that's not it.
No.
That's not it.
Yeah. Really, what we're advocating for is a nuanced, looking at both sides of an issue perspective when we
Some
engage.
wisdom.
Yeah, just a little
Don't
bit of
let
wisdom,
don't let
man.
people pick your pockets.
Yeah. Yep.
Things are bigger than what
Yeah.
they just pack them up into pills and they give you two options.
Yeah. Right.
And
Come on, man.
that Vivek kid was really funny because
What do you say?
oh he the moderator asked some question and he was like, you know what? I'm going to use my time for this.
That's so he just
and
decided not to.
and he goes, I want to tell you something. I think the person he was talking to was named Chris.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to tell you this, Chris. You're here with XYZ Network. Are
Yeah.
you guys going to apologize for 5 years of Russia collusion that was nothing but Hillary Clinton fabricated,
Gosh.
da da da, which it
Yeah.
was.
Right.
It was not true. That was not the facts. It was not
Yikes.
the case. It was not true. We had Rachel Maddow on there trying to terrify us every day that the Russians were going to take over and all this stuff. And he says, because, and then he said, and then when the Hunter Biden laptop thing came up in an election year as an October surprise, you guys shut down the story. It's clearly demonstrated that you were lying. You were all lying about it,
Hmm.
that it was corroborated and it was real. And a New York Post, which still is still off Twitter because they won't give on it. They won't remove that tweet.
Dude, come on,
And
man.
and that's the oldest newspaper in America, by
Yeah,
the way.
dude.
And they're a rag, but
Oh man.
they have been a rag, but they've everything is shifting because like CNN is pure garbage news now, and you have these other people reporting that are yeah, and what I love about it is you can listen to 20 different sources and start to kind of get a feel for maybe that you might know something about what's going on.
Hmm.
It's very important to have diverse perspectives.
Yeah.
In my news feed, there's Al Jazeera and the Jerusalem Post.
Yeah.
You're going to
Sure.
have both of them in there.
Yeah.
So important. But that was jumping the shark, and it was election interference. And it is not a stretch to say so. They
Yeah.
were interfering in the flow of information in the First Amendment during election cycles. And you know what? I don't expect anything different.
Mm.
This nation has been a strange mix of some of the very best values, some of the very best practices, along with the same scumbaggery and skullduggery you come to expect from every nation.
Yep.
And
Yep.
still, in the short history of this nation, 275, I think, something like that,
Something. Yeah.
1776
Six
to
to now.
2026.
Yeah.
You know well, that's 250
50.
years. That's so
Wow.
young.
Yeah.
In this short time, this nation has exhibited to the world a paragon of good ideas
Yeah.
and even demonstrated virtue
Hmm.
with terrible practices as well.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
nation did demonstrate something to the world that I think you don't see very often: true progress.
Hmm.
Progress from the founding fathers, including Jefferson, who was a slave owner, and Washington.
Yeah.
They all wanted to stop slavery, but they knew we couldn't have a country if they did that because South Carolina and Virginia wouldn't have it. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia they weren't going to join the Union
Sure.
if they didn't have slavery, so they put it off, and the slaves remained for another
100 years.
70,
Yes. 80 years.
75
Yeah.
years, 80
Right.
years. And
Right.
then during the freeing of the slaves, you had that massive cultural, spiritual darkness of our country
Mm.
that went for another, let's see, say 1860 to 1960,
Yeah,
another
100
100 years
years.
of
Yep.
oppression,
Right.
after. And, so, but that's progress,
Yeah. That's
all of
moving
which
forward.
was voted into place by old rich white men. And without a slave rebellion, without the experiment of, do you know about the country of Liberia?
I know of it. I don't.
Well, we had slave rebellions happening, and so they did something about it with the president. I forget which one it was, way back in the day.
Hmm.
And so America passed a colonialization act, and they colonialized. They created an African colony
Hmm.
called Liberia,
Okay.
and then they emancipated the colony.
Okay.
It's the first independent nation of Africa post-colonialism. It's the first
Wow.
colony to be independent in Africa, and
Mm.
it's the first country in Africa to ever have a female president.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Liberia, and it was populated by Americans,
Very interesting.
American freed
Slaves who
slaves.
wanted to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't know if all of them wanted to go back.
Yeah, well, sure.
And Liberia has been violent. Haiti had a slave revolt,
Okay.
not great. The French, not great either. And the French still hold the land of Haiti in a stranglehold economically. Unbelievable the injustice of these nations.
Hmm.
Um, and our nation as well, unjust. Terrible foreign policy, terrible, terrible secret foreign policies. And our wars, I think America has racked 7 or 12 years in its entire 250-year history.
Of
We're like 248 years right now
of no war.
of no war.
That's a trick.
7 or 12 years.
Yeah, like not a lot.
Our nation is so warlike, and
Sure.
our people are so sheep-like
Yeah.
that we just keep going, just doing it. So we are. I feel that this nation has is tipping over the edge of a precipice
Hmm.
culturally, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of economic situation. This is a terrible, terrible situation. And I feel that the solution is singular.
Hmm.
I feel that the solution is singular. It is just encapsulated return to God. Return to God,
Hmm.
seek God, find God, learn his ways, change your lives. And that is done in the person of the Messiah of Israel, proclaimed, prophesied, fulfilled, first coming down, second one, perhaps soon.
Yeah.
I know that it's a bit of a pill to swallow for some people. They love to hate God, but that's dumb.
It is, dude.
That is not wise. Turns out God made us. He spoke us or sang us, or he formed us out of dirt and breathed into us,
Saying
and
it's
he made us. And
yeah.
each one of us is a little bit magical. Every one of us is made in the image of God
Hmm.
by this is, it says in Psalm 139 that he knit us together in our mother's womb.
Hmm.
This is heavy. And the fact that you're alive is an amazing and heavy thing and a responsibility.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility to your own life
Yeah.
and to be reconciled with the one who created you, who's made the way of reconciliation, and then to live and learn wisdom and not be blown around by every wind and wave of cunning that the people around you are constantly picking your pocket. You don't have to be buffeted by all that.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about on a day when we lose a space shuttle.
Yeah.
That's just 2 days after we talked at length about losing a
Space
space shuttle.
shuttle. Yeah.
It makes me think, are we are we in some way tapped into something that is a little beyond the seen realm?
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And dear listener, we'd like to speak to you at greater length about things that are more important than election interferences and
Yeah.
voting machines and my pillow guys and things like. We don't care about the things that the pundits rant about. We care about the things uh, that are transcendent, things that
Transcendent. Yeah.
transcend those things. That was
Yeah.
that head injury
Absolutely.
I had.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the problem I get with that when I had a head injury over 10 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
I lose words.
Dude,
It's fine.
it's fine.
I'm rerouting.
I,
I'm running. I'm the IT guy running cables under the floor.
dude, your brain does it. It's so funny we're talking about that. There's an album of Christian hip hop that I really enjoy by these guys, and the entire album is about they're all creationists. So
Give them a plug.
their name is Hazakim. I think it's two brothers. They do Christian hip hop, and I really like their music. I'm the jury's still out on whether or not I think that the Earth is 6,000 years old, but they 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 have this song and they talk about the complexity of the human eye, and then right after that song is an interlude of a guy talking, basically saying it's like a it's off like a
It's a
it's
recording
yeah, like
of a
a
scientist or something.
exactly, yeah, but
Yeah.
he's like talking to a news guy or something, and he's saying like, oh, there's an argument that God's dead, but I think that the more and more we come to grips with the fact that the the odds of life existing are like flipping a coin and having it
Yes.
land on heads
The
10
Goldie
quintillion
the
times in a
the
row.
Goldilocks.
Yeah,
The
right. Like,
Goldilocks planet. The uh, the idea that everything you see came from nothing
yeah, by
is
pure chance.
way more wildly speculative
Yeah,
and a specious argument
yeah,
compared to following the evidences to an intelligent designer.
yeah,
I say that with full conviction.
yeah,
I think it's dumb. I'm not accusing everyone in the sciences of doing that. I have a son in the sciences,
yeah.
and he, but evolution as origin and everything out of nothing. You know what it turns out being?
Hmm.
Bunch of woo.
A bunch of
It
woo.
does. It turns out it's a bunch of
Hmm.
woo. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that in conjunction with your comment about the fact that every human being is a little bit magical. And I've got a 6-month-old baby. And so we did a lot of learning about what it means to have a baby and the way that a fetus grows inside of a woman.
How is a
And
baby made?
yeah, you would have
How
been
do they
dead.
make
Yeah,
it?
how do they make it?
You would have been dead if this was a
Real
real
scenario,
scenario.
dude. Because it is. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's literally
Dude,
it
dude.
makes me sick to my stomach. Like
I
it
was
freaks me out,
I
dude.
was
Like,
watching you know me with the
oh
Tik-Toks,
yeah, I do.
right? Here's the all the roof pictures, right? Got all
Yeah.
the roof pictures and go back through here and I gotta find yeah, cymatics. I found this
Cymatics.
cymatics thing, right? So this is crazy, right? Dude, why don't you just
moment a human
freaking
egg gets
the,
fertilized.
the moment a
What you
human
see
egg
is
is
a flash of
fertilized?
light the moment it gets fertilized. This is a chemical reaction that releases a lot of zinc that seals the outside of the egg so it can't get fertilized by another little guy. What happens next is even more insane. It starts to ripple. The outside of the egg starts to look a lot like the bubble cymatics video that I posted a while back, and it shows that there's fluid motion within that egg. You literally start life vibrating. Cymatic images make some really cool complex patterns.
I have no idea what I think about that.
I know,
But
dude. God.
I think okay, so it's 2023,
Hmm.
bunch of scientists. I looked into it.
Yeah, dude, your face.
I
I did
really
my own research.
I looked at yeah, it's called reading.
Yeah, it's fine. I do it too
I
sometimes.
swear I almost cussed.
Dude,
I'm
yeah,
so mad
yeah,
at
I
everyone
know,
being
I know,
down on
I know.
of course I do my own research.
Yeah.
What do you've got to be kidding me. Of course I do. Anytime I form a belief, anytime I operate by a belief or examine or discover that I have a belief that I've been operating by,
Yeah.
I do research.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
They used to call it reading.
They used to call it reading.
Yeah, it used to be called reading. I
Oh,
used to
dude.
read.
I know. I
Yeah,
know. I
Jimmy Dore
know.
did this
I
whole
know,
thing on it,
dude.
and I'm gonna bite the whole thing. I mean, he's like, oh, I'm thinking about buying a car, and they're like, well, don't do
Don't.
don't do your
Yeah.
research.
Whatever you
Don't
do,
whatever you do, don't read about it.
just
Don't
talk to the salesman.
just trust the salesman.
Oh,
What do you
dude.
think? You're Henry
Yeah.
Ford? You
There
know,
he
like
is, dude.
it's such a good bit.
Dude.
It's such a good bit. Don't
Yeah.
read about it. Don't read it. Just trust the salesman.
Yeah.
And that's what's funny is, you know, academia, by the way, is selling you something. And you can see now by the collapse of American finances under the weight of debt
Hmm.
that the whole idea that these academics are so much smarter than you is a monetized elitism.
Hmm.
It is. And then
Hmm.
the pharmacological the whole big pharma corporation thing and its relationship to your government and lobbying and funding. I mean, wow, you know, you've got to be kidding me that you would trust. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't wind up agreeing,
Sure.
but yeah, you have the time. You have the time to read.
Yeah. I
You have
mean,
the time to listen to dissenting experts of good pedigree
and
and
go ahead.
outside of
Yeah.
the pharmacological thing.
Hmm.
um, here's a picture of an egg. This video of an egg, which could be a rendering,
Hmm.
but I don't think so. I think it's from the in vitro
Yeah.
that they do. And here you have the discovery that there is a luminescence upon conception,
Hmm.
and that's just Cool, man.
That
We
is
are
cool, dude.
still learning so many
Dude,
things. I
dude,
just read an article the other day, and I've been seeing more of them come out, that salt's not bad for you,
bro. That's what I'm
bro.
saying, bro.
And my doctor told me 20 years ago that 10 years before that, sugar was bad for you,
Mm-hmm.
as were the simple starches that they replaced fats with, and that
Yep.
fats were good for you. And
Sure
he said
enough.
it's going to be another 10 years before they let it come out, because the food industry is married to the media, and they don't want to flip the food pyramid
Sure.
away from starches and sugars
Yep.
because of market forces. And it brings me back to the SF Chronicle,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
it,
A
Tribune,
Tribune. Yeah.
the San Francisco articles
Yeah.
about where Tony Vitello
Yeah.
is telling us as skateboarders that, yeah, we've really wanted to do something about all these heroin deaths and deaths of despair and drugs, and how partying and that leads to death, and like that. But it's all been marketized for so long, we don't know how to do it. Well, sometimes you have to burn it down, baby.
I know, dude.
Sometimes you have to
Or
say, like, we were wrong. Partying is not where it's at.
just do anything, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like anything is
Yeah.
better than what we're doing right now. 100%, dude. It's funny we're talking about all this. I mean, I I think it's my right as an American. If I want to believe that a spaghetti monster
And
created
say so.
and say
And
so
convince other
and
people.
convince it's
If
my right as an American to do that. That's why living in America is sick or supposed to be.
supposed to be, but that's I mean, Canada, Australia, England, they've already lost it. If New Zealand announced that people who believe in like 6-day creation and stuff like that,
Mhm.
that they are already considered radical extremists. They did a public statement about how dangerous those people are, because they lack a foundation level loyalty to state groupthink.
Wow,
They are
dude.
not able to be formed at the belief level by the state, and they'll do crazy things like say, I'm not sure I want to put that like vaccine in my body.
Right.
And
Again, my right. That's
I I don't know. I heard it said, my body is my choice.
I've heard that somewhere too.
And the thing is, you will bear the consequences of all the choices that you make with your body.
Yeah.
And
100%.
if people are willing to take responsibility for the choices they make with their body now, and when it comes to a pandemic, you've got that extra piece of power, which is that, yeah, but you might make other people sick. And there was the "you're killing my grandma."
Yeah.
And God bless you. I'm so sorry if anyone lost a grandparent. And I
100%,
knew
dude.
people who couldn't mourn they couldn't
Yeah.
hug, they couldn't embrace, they lost loved ones.
Yeah.
And I think that was a reprehensible and disgusting abuse of power
Yeah.
by the medical industry, by the political industry, by the pharma industry. I think that was disgusting. We know that sick people need love. We
Yeah.
know that the recovery from sickness can be greatly aided
Yeah.
by the support of people around us. And with a virus like that, healthy people get it and recover from. It just staggered me back then. It staggers me today. And I'm so sorry if that's been any of our listeners' experience.
100%,
I
man.
love you. I
Yeah.
care about you.
Me too.
But still, it is a deadly thing to infringe upon freedom of speech. It
100.
is deadly.
Dude, I was just having a conversation with a friend who, throughout the entire pandemic, probably wore a mask twice because he wanted to take care of his wife. And he didn't have a YouTube channel. He wasn't protesting out on the street. He wasn't violent about it. He had strong opinions, and just living his life that way. He was like, dude, he was like, I felt so alone,
Yes.
totally betrayed by the
Yeah.
people around me
Very
because they thought that I
painful.
was totally crazy.
Very
He's like,
painful.
bro, I was trying to follow my conscience,
It was
like
one of the most painful periods of my life, because
insane.
I had family members whom I respect and love
Yeah,
utterly.
yeah,
My affection for them is unaffected by what happened and what they did in reaction to my operation of conscience, which was very mild, knowing
yeah, right.
knowing
Yeah.
that the coronavirus protocols from 2014 were very simple, and having had the swine flu and other such things before, I recognized that the protocol is, you segregate the vulnerable,
Yeah.
you you therapize folks who are affected,
Yep.
and you let it burn through through the healthy,
Yep.
especially children
Yep.
and teenagers. And at the time, I fell in an age range and a health condition that I was definitely one of the healthy.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do a thing, which was go in and have an experimental rushed, they called it warp speed. And it came from the Trump administration. And before that election,
Mm-hmm.
all of the people who were now being very forceful about it,
Mm-hmm.
they had previously said, I mean, publicly said
Right.
that they would not take a vax that was developed
Yeah. Under duress, a
under
time
that
constraint. Yeah.
administration. No,
Right.
because it was the Orange Man's
Oh,
administration
great. Yeah.
that they wouldn't trust him and his administration to produce a safe vaccine. Now, that's not the way I felt and thought about it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't trust such a thing under most circumstances.
Yeah.
And so I just waited.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. And also, I had gone to prayer, and this is the way I live my life.
Yep.
I went to prayer, I sought an answer, and I received what I considered to be a fairly strong intuitive nudge in prayer that that's not for me,
Yeah.
and or not the right time. So
Sure.
and the I I asked my doctor. I had two
Yep.
people treating me medically, and both of them recommended that I wait.
Yeah.
And they were both of them are very mainstream.
Yeah.
The one of them is a little more right leaning than the other,
Sure.
but turns out my treating physician, his heart was damaged by the vaccine.
Hmm.
That was that was much later. That wasn't
Yeah.
central at all to my decision, but I was lumped in with, I mean, I was treated like I was a traitor.
Yep.
I was treated like, and meanwhile, I have dear friends who are losing loved ones, who are dying in hospitals,
Yep.
can't get their cancer treated, can't get their other stuff treated.
Can't have anyone go in and sit with them.
I had immunocompromised friends who couldn't have their family around them,
Yeah.
healthy family who could fight off the coronavirus,
Yeah.
while they themselves were dying. I saw people I didn't see with my own eyes, but people were intubated who should have been treated with corticosteroids, and the mayhem of that short time period
Hmm.
was punctuated for me by repeated hostilities from respectable family members whom I love very, very much to this day. But I was lumped in with QAnon and Trumpers and
Yeah.
all
Right.
sorts of, like, really, really, and the vitriol of it
Yep.
was, I had actually, if my family members listen to this, some of them might be really surprised because I didn't talk about these things until this year.
Yeah.
Um, maybe last year.
Sure.
But I had family members who had already proclaimed their utter hatred of what they called the unvaxxed.
Yes. Right. That dirty,
I'm not
despicable.
unvaxxed. I'm Lou, who Jesus loves.
Yeah.
I'm Lou, who
Yeah.
lives his life at the conscience level
Yep.
from a relationship with God through Jesus. And that should be okay, man.
Yeah.
That should be okay. If
Right.
um, but it was not okay. And they went on their social media and they like were so proud of themselves for how much they hated
Yep.
people who weren't of the same mind as they were.
Yeah.
And I'm a very religious person, but I'm also an American citizen, and our founding documents give you the right to live your life by your conscience and to speak and attempt to convince others of that, but it
Yep.
does not give you the right to hate and threaten and menace.
Yep.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
And but you can say, you can speak your low opinions about other people, but in a family, that's rough stuff.
Yeah.
And I yeah, some very sinister vibes, man.
I know. Yeah. I'm really thinking a lot about what you said earlier in the episode about
Confusion.
and
Confusion is upon us.
I have been saying the last year, I think I've used the term like losing the narrative a lot. Like we're missing the narrative. We've lost the narrative. moving away from the path.
Try the lost the plot.
You lost the plot.
Lost the
We're
plot.
losing the plot. We're losing our moral moorings. Like we're in an ocean of postmodern subjective realities, and the results of those historically have been really, really poor, really, really poor. And I've got a book from a friend at work about the Bill of Rights, and slowly reading through those and really beginning to understand what the intent was behind something as simple as the freedom of speech and the freedom from a nationalized religion, and how these constitutional rights interface with our common law practices and all these things.
Or
and
nowadays don't.
Which is
They
really,
don't.
really gnarly.
We have shifted to this basis of case law, which is eroding those freedoms.
Yes,
we on time?
We're hitting there. We probably got a minute or two.
We're going to finish up in this last minute. First of all, thank you, dear listeners, if you've hung here this far.
Good
we're
for
not
you.
afraid to lose all of you and find new ones here on the CapmLew podcast. We're not afraid of that at all.
We don't fear the reaper.
But what we do fear is your own harm.
Yeah.
If you're in the party scene and you're blowing it, we want you to know you're blowing it. There's a better way.
Yeah.
If you love abortion and you think it's a virtue, we beg of you, please look into what it is. In fact, do that with everything.
Yeah.
Be a critical thinker.
Yeah.
And before you write off God and Jesus and all those things, get in there and go see why a reasoning person would wind up thinking that way.
Yeah.
Get in there, man.
Yeah.
Dig around in it. Also, I'd like you to know that your skateboarding and like that, it's great. And whatever skateboard stokes you, we're stoked that you're stoked.
Yeah.
But if that skateboard is made in China, we'd like you to know that's not great. You are.
Yes.
But that's not. So stop doing that. Stop buying skateboards that are made in China.
Yep.
Stop doing that. Well, Lou, then where will I find a skateboard that will stoke me? Well, I have the answer, and it is Life Skateboards. Lifeskateboard.com. It's singular.
There's no S at the end.
It is a singularly interesting company.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yes. A singular board buying experience.
That was
Life
for you,
Skateboards. It is hands down one of the very best things. And I had a phone call today with Mike Villalobos of the Art of Board Making.
Always doing well.
And I asked him to send me, I said, do you know anyone else out there in board making who's doing it like Life Skateboards? He said, yeah, I do know a few. I said, please send me the list.
Yeah.
We want to start introducing you to brands that do it as well as Life Skateboards, because there are not many. There are not many. They make about $200 to $400 a month, and you can get on the list. The lead time, it's worth any wait you have.
I don't even think it's that long.
Buy 3. Trust me.
Buy 3.
Buy 3.
Yes. 100%.
And then when you're down to 1 in the quiver, you break 1, riding, have 1 in the quiver, buy 3 more. It's worth it.
It's the Lou Ross way.
It is more than that. It's the American way.
The Lou Ross way is the American way.
Wow. Nope. This world is not my home.
Oh.
Dear friends, thank you for spending time with us here at the CapmLew podcast with your host CapmLew and
co-host Luke.
Even more. He's a host. We hosted you. I yakety-yacked a long time. Thank you, Luke, for making it happen. Luke makes it happen. He's the make it happener here. Without him, there is no CapmLew podcast. Mistake that not. But as always, we've offered these thoughts into the ether sphere for what it's worth.
Laters.